So
Okay. Give
to
me
me,
1 second. Yeah. Move away. Move away.
so the questions we're supposed to discuss.
Yep.
So who's gonna write the report this time?
I can write it this time.
Okay. So the first question is, what is the obvious message of the speaker in this poem?
Okay. Obvious message. Speaker. Okay. So I was reading a little bit about it. Trying to. It's about war. That's what I got.
Yeah. I think that it is like, I think the message of the poem is kind of about how we talk about war and we say that like it's okay, but in reality, like people are dying and loved ones are dying, and like the message is that it is not kind, even though the title says that it is kind, and points out the sides of it that like are glory or like are, but in every line it basically shows how unkind war is, kind of. So it's kind of like saying, it's very
And there's,
ironic.
like, irony.
And I think yeah.
Okay, so I really will probably need like a lot of help to understand this one.
That's okay. Okay, so the first question is the message. So in my opinion, the message of the poem is that war is not kind. So what, do you guys agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so then the next question is, are there any details that make us doubt that this message? Well, I think that like the message seems to be war is kind because of the title, and because there's certain lines where they say like the unexplained glory flies above them, or do not weave war is kind, point them for the virtue of slaughter. So it's like the author uses language that kind of seems like he's describing these things that they're good and that they're kind, but in reality he's using other words that are showing how like miserable and unkind and violent war is. And so I think that if you look at it from one perspective, you could say that it is saying that war is kind, but in reality it's saying the opposite. So you can, I think that the title is doubtful, and because of the language he uses, and that's not the actual message, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Are the images kindness or unkindness?
I think the images are unkindness. I don't know about you guys.
Sorry. Unkind.
Provoke, I think, just to make it sound how to say that, just make it justify so that the war is not always ugly and it can be glorious, just the way that people think it could be, just to kind of like lie to everyone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like the images of like the part where it says, your father tumbled in the yellow trenches, raged at his breath, gulped and died, is like not a kind visual, because it's someone dying and tumbling and gulping and like struggling and then dying. So I think that is like very brutal and unkind.
Also mentioned in the very last sentence of the fourth paragraph, it also said, "In the field where 1,000 crows lie," and also the next one says, "On the bright, splendid shroud of the sun," or mentioned by dying.
Yeah, that one is really very like visually unpleasing to think about, and not like it doesn't make me think of kindness. Or like the action of being kind. There's the part where it says, "Then these men were born to drill and die." So they were born to like kill and be killed, and that's not a very kind like action or receiving of the action. Like there's no kindness within that. Or little souls who thirst for fight. Like that's not really a kind thing for little souls. You know what I mean? So there really is no kindness within the actions that people are giving, are taking, and that they're receiving.
So the tone of the poem is like not angry. Is it angry?
I think it's kind of like gentle.
Okay.
Kind of, you know, like I don't really know how to describe tone very much, but the tone is very I think the tone of this poem is very hard because it's the title and the actual meaning is so different.
Sarcastic, yeah.
Sorry? Yeah.
Is
very
it like
sarcastic. Yeah. I think that hold on one second, sorry. I wrote down some notes. It has a sarcastic tone and yeah.
Okay.
I think that yeah, I think it's just mostly a sarcastic and like almost critical tone. Like it's not being like it's not an honest poem, obviously, so there's no genuinity in it, kind of. Like there's no truth in this poem. And so it's like there's a very critical and like taken back and sarcastic tone because of the irony within the sentences, like within the lines and the stanzas, because it's highly ironic, highly sarcastic. And so I think the tone is very critical and negative and sarcastic, if that makes any sense.
Okay. So do not we
certain lines
pretty, like
do we need to find lines that
yeah, like
so quotes
the last
that
line is super harsh.
yeah,
like the mother's heart that is on like like a shroud is the that's a blanket that you cover somebody that's dead, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so that one is like it's like very ironic that it says on the bright splendid shroud of your son. Is that the line? Do not weep. So it's like so ironic because it's like, do not weep on this deathbed of your son. Or a good line to me that like really shows the irony is the line, "These men were born to drill and die," because it's like these men were born to die, basically, to kill and die. And so that's like very ironic because it's like you were born to do nothing, basically, because you're born to die, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. One, two.
this one is really, really sarcastic and kind of like really can be used to prove the tone, which is sarcastic and critical, because this line, which is in the fourth stanza, says, "These men were born to drill and die. Point for them the virtue of slaughter. Make plain to them the excellence of killing." So it's kind of like saying, like, make them feel virtuous for killing other people. Make them understand like how excellent it is for them to be killing and dying. And so it's just so critical of those actions and how maybe society views it as virtuous or excellent when in reality they're killing people, if that makes sense. So that can be like those two lines can be used to prove the tone, because it is so sarcastic.
Okay. When answering this, make sure you quote the poem. You may want to take notes. Okay. The poem's attitude. Okay, so his attitude and his tone towards war, there's anger and sarcasm, and like judgment, kind of, or like
harsh judgment.
Yeah, harsh judgment on war and people that go to war.
Yeah, it's a harsh judgment of war and how people refer and act and look at war, because I think in a lot of societies we think of war as like this great thing, and the military and all these things as like these really important things where we should like really, like, it's such an achievement to go to war, and it's such an achievement to be a soldier, and it's such a great thing, and we value it so much in our society and in the world today. But in reality, it's just killing people and dying, and it's really just these women who have these people going out, have their loved ones going out and dying. And he's really bringing it down to like the simplicity of things.
Yeah, like, don't weep though. War's kind. Like,
send them out. Yeah, exactly. Like, don't worry though, because everyone's saying that war is kind and that we need these things, when in reality, like, people are dying and killing and crying. So I think it's a judgment of more of how we look at war versus what war, like, it's a judgment of what war is, but it's also a judgment of how we look at war and how much value we have of war.
Okay.
Because war is like so much more than just killing and dying. And I think he proves that through talking about how the maiden and the babe and the mother are affected.
Yeah. And there's like, so people find honor in war, glory.
And virtue. It says virtue and excellence.
On a field where 1,000 corpses lie.
Yeah.
Okay. So
this line is really cool. It says, "Great is the battle god, great is the battle god, great, and his kingdom, a field where 1,000 corpses lie." So this battle god, so this person that is like, comes home as a war hero and is amazing and is so smart and is so important in the society, his kingdom, all of his accomplishments is in reality just a field of dead people and dead lives, which are connected to those maidens and those daughters and those mothers who are crying about those people that are dead in those fields. And so you're a great battle god, but you just killed 1,000 people, and all of their wives, daughters, and moms are crying about it and are devastated. And so it's like, so the first it's very sarcastic.
He's talking to the maiden in the first stanza. The second stanza, he's like explaining about the war and how men look at war and horrible stuff, and then the child, and then in that other stanza is about some more of the virtue that you find in the excellence in war, and then the last stanza is to the mother. Okay.
So it kind of goes through like different phases of death too within these stanzas, because the first one is about like how he died, like he got thrown off the horse, and then the second the second one about talking to a person, the babe, that one is about like the actual him, the father dying, so like the act of him dying, which when he gulps his last breath and he dies. And then the third one is about the mom who's actually like on the deathbed, and so it kind of that also works through the process of someone being in war and dying.
Okay.
Which is just I don't know if that's really important, but it kind of it's kind of ingenious in how they did it, how he wrote it.
I think this kind of gives us the different view from different people's perspective.
Yeah.
Like the babes, the maiden, and the mother. Like they're not like really related, but like they kind of talk about like who has been affected and also what they feel, and just telling people like how much they've been brainwashed about like war is great and it's something to glorify your country, something you should do, something you should join.
Yeah.
We are brainwashed.
That's true, definitely.
To find glory and pride in war.
Yeah.
Okay. So the obvious message of the speaker is that we are too like happy and eager to go to war when there's all these horrible things that go on.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, obvious message. Message. Okay. What is the obvious message of the speaker?
Yeah.
So the obviously war is a bad thing.
Yeah. So
too much pride and glory in and what is it, virtue in our society. There's too much pride and virtue in going to war to fight for glory, but really all it is just slaughtering of people.
Yep.
Okay, I'll figure out how to write that. Okay. Not good. There's nothing that doubts the message because it's talking about horrible things that happen in war. Okay. And then the images of war that he portrays makes war just seem horrible. What does this tell us about the poem's attitude or tone?
Yeah.
What is the word for the tone? Like I'm trying to Google.
I think a good word for the tone is just like harshly sarcastic and critical. So brutally sarcastic and critical. Okay. And it's proven, so you could write something that this tone of sarcasm and criticality, I don't know how you say that. This critical viewpoint and sarcastic tone is proven through the irony within each stanza. And when the speaker is describing the glory in killing people.
And like by the title, like War is Kind.
Yeah, and the title, "The War is Kind," is a very sarcastic and starts the poem off with a critical.
Okay. Okay. I think I can do this.
If you want, you can like send it to me later. I should have my phone so I can like see things on my phone.
Okay.
If you want me to like see it, but I
Yeah.
think you, I don't know. I don't know more than you do, in case you need help.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna send it. I'll send it to you guys to look at, and then if there's anything you guys want me to change on it and stuff, let me know, and then I'll so that we can get it in by tonight.
Okay.
Okay, I got this.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, thanks guys. I'm gonna stop the broadcast.
Okay. All right. Thank you.